this already. I'm blocking in, so I've put my figure on here, and I already blocked in the sky with acrylic, and I've kind of figured out my horizon, roughly blocked that in. I think I'm going to put a willow tree here because willow trees kind of figure into a lot of my Basil Winslow paintings. And then here I'm just sort of quickly with a large brush putting in where there's going to be grass. And the reason that I do this blocking in with acrylics, first of all, acrylics dry a lot faster than oils, and it gives the oils something to sit on. So there'll be a background in case the oils are thin or something like that. It'll give it something that it can show through the oils. Gives it a little bit of depth. Also shows me where I plan to put things. The colors don't have to be exact. I just want to sort of get them in here. I like to try to keep the shapes as close to what I had planned as possible. But using the big brush, obviously I'm going to paint over all this, so the shapes don't necessarily matter. But you don't want to have like a heavy side to side and then try to come in and put a oil vertical grass over the top of it. So this just gives it a little bit of depth. Some of this might show through later. And then down here on the bottom, I'm going to be doing just grass down here. So just kind of filling this in. It also kind of covers up the white. I did prepare the canvas already with gesso, a few layers of gesso. So it shouldn't be too much of a thirsty canvas, but sometimes they can be a little thirsty. So putting the acrylic down sort of helps to cut down on some of that. And you see I have my little fox head here, so I'm trying to be real careful over him, but then kind of fill in this area, and it might blur a bit back there. And I have his back over here, so I want to keep that shape, but then sort of block in where the grasses are going to be. And again, I don't really care too much about what the background color is here. I mean, I do a little bit, but you know, grass is always different colors in different areas. So you look at grasses and there's all different colors throughout. There's brown grasses and green grasses, and so I'm really just kind of getting something here on the canvas that can hold that color value, and everything's going to fade down into the grass here, so I don't have to be so precise with it. So I like the big brush because I had a painting teacher once. She said I painted too rigid. I needed to paint more loosely. So the big brush helps me to do that. But now I'm going to be getting into some of the details. So I'm going to move to a little bit smaller brush. Actually, I might even go a little bit tinier if I'm going to be doing his face. And again, I'm not going to worry too much about lights and shadows yet. I just want to sort of get some color on here. His ear looks huge, but I can fix that later if I need to. And I sort of have some lines where I know his hair is going to come down, where his eyebrow is. Actually, I'm sort of painting over that, but I can always fix that later. I don't want to lose where I planned his eye to go, though. So let me get a little tiny one. I'm just going to put a little his eyebrows here. He's got an eyebrow over there. And because this dries so fast, it's not uncommon to end up with a lot of variation in here, but just trying to get basic shapes in here. His mouth looks a little ridiculous right now, but we'll fix that. That's actually Basil's tongue right there, so I don't want to paint that yet. And so I don't want to lose where I have his hand because, well, I struggle with hands. And so I want to keep the detail. So I'm going to come in maybe with a different color or something like that, just to make sure that I can still see the detail there. I might even just take this And I can put, oops, I can put the lines in, and then I can go over it with with the skin tone color. And so the lines will be a little bit hidden underneath. I'm also somewhat shaky, so. Here he's got his fingers curled. Okay. And I can get a real thin wash of the skin color and put that in there, and now we're not losing the detail. And I don't even have to fill all of it in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just so I get something on there to kind of cover up the canvas. One of my favorite things to paint is actually fabric. I won't say I'm a master, but I really like painting the highlights and the shadows and the folds. So when I get to his shirt, I won't do it in the acrylic and the blocking in, but I will do that with the oil, and that's one of my favorite things to paint. Well, I mean, besides Basil. So I'm kind of thinning this with water. Water doesn't keep it from drying at all. It just helps it to go in a little bit thinner, because I don't need it to be really bold underneath the oil. I'm only blocking in, so I just need the basic shapes and the idea. So here we have another transition to his hand. So I'm gonna just roughly paint that in. And then it doesn't have to be perfect. When I come in and do the oils, I'll definitely fine tune what's here. It's just a guide. One of the nice things about acrylic is that it does dry so fast, and one of the bad things about acrylic is that it dries so fast. So it's nice that I can just paint over that line that I just painted, and I know it's not going to go anywhere, but I like to blend, and blending is nigh impossible with acrylics. Well, at least for me. I've seen other artists who can paint in acrylics, and they have beautiful transitions and blending. I don't get that. So I guess I'm going to do a boot. He's wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but I still think it's going to be a boot, not a sneaker. So I filled in his shirt and I got to this point, and what I want to do there is I want to have some of the light that's behind them kind of coming through, because I'm going to have it highlight underneath Basil's chin. So for now, I'm just going to try to put in really the same color that I used for his hair, but just, well, my brush is too wet. Just so that I can show that there's golden light coming through there. So I'm just going to block that in right there for now, so I don't accidentally paint over that with something that's like the shirt color or whatever. So, guess we can do his pants. So I was thinking like a kind of a khaki color for his pants. Sort of mixing colors here, trying to come up with kind of a khaki color. It doesn't have to be perfect again, it just has to kind of get on the canvas. work for now. I also don't want it to blend in with the grass. Looks like I need his shirt to come down a little more. That waist looks a little high, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe not. Gonna throw a dividing line in here. So we see that that's his leg going up. So his pants come down here. There'll be grass that starts to come up and sort of hide a lot of this. There's a bit of a shadow here underneath his pants. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do his other knee. So we want his knee showing here. This is Tommy. This is not Milo from the regular Basil Winslow series. Tommy is going to be in kind of an extra book in the series. It's going to be for some friends of mine over at Stoneybrook Foundation. They have a therapeutic writing center for kids and adults who have either physical challenges or emotional, lots of different things that they help people with. And even veterans, they have a veterans group that comes in. One of the things that they do, they come in and they get to ride horses and work with the horses. They also have a reading program. So once the first Basil Winslow book launches at the end of June 30th, then I told them that I would come in and read that to the kids. So I'm really kind of excited about that. Okay, let's just bring the shorts color down here some more. Whoops, forgot I had the shadow on there, but that's actually not a bad thing. I don't know what color I want to make his brace. I've seen them in white, but white feels like it would be a little loud for there. I might even leave that blank and then just decide as I'm doing the actual oil paints. I've done that before, just leave a spot blank and don't block it in and decide later. Okay, so just getting him blocked in here. I'm leaving some white parts. Actually need to go in and put the dark of his ear. Of course, it won't be brown. It'll be more of a, well, it could be brown. Sometimes I use Van Dyke brown because it's a cooler brown, a little closer to black. But one of the things that always kind of makes me laugh is these look so bad when they're blocked in. Like, oh, nobody's going to want this painting. Trust me, when I'm done, it'll be fine. And here's the inside of his ear. Do a little bit of white on his chin. Little on his face. Coming down. And his fur is sort of choppy there. A little choppy over here. It's another thing I like doing, painting his fur. I haven't done a big version of Basil yet, so I'm actually sort of excited to do that. And then his tail is coming over the edge of the brace a little bit. And I think there'll be some grass peeking up here in between, but I can do that later. And I guess if I can differentiate, but here's his tongue. Okay, and I'll do all the details on that, but I think that's good for blocking in for right now. It looks like a preschool painting, but when I'm done, I promise it'll be good.